I'd like to talk for a minute about shutter speed and the pretty dramatic effect shutter speed can have on the image you take. The example I'm going to use, here's a shot of a waterfall I took not long ago. And this is kind of the typical shot that most people take. It's taken at a pretty fast speed at about 1/125th of a second. So if you're hand holding your camera, this is probably what you need to do. And this is sort of the typical shot. There's nothing special about it. It's a little interesting in the way that it freezes the water. You can see some of the water droplets and different parts of the image that way. But to me, it really doesn't do much else for me. It's a very typical, I consider it a snapshot. And just one simple thing you can do that can really make a difference is that you can slow down your shutter speed. Here is the same shot taken off a tripod. Nothing has moved except that I've changed the shutter speed. And this one is now at 2 seconds. And I think you can see it's pretty obvious the difference in the two. I obviously much prefer the one on the right. It's given a sense of motion to the shot. It's given the water a beautiful silky effect. And I think this has turned this image into a photograph rather than just a snapshot. And you can even take this to another extreme. Again, it's a slightly different framing, but the same waterfall. And here you can see with a 10-second exposure. And as you can tell, this is even more so. There's much more blur to the water. And I think it gives it a nice painting effect to it. And so as I said, you can see the dramatic difference that a shutter speed can have on your image. And in other cases, you may want to do the opposite. Here I've tried to put in a long exposure to get this nice silky effect. But you may have a shot of something where you want to absolutely freeze the action and go to a 500 or 600th of a second to really freeze some sort of action. So when you're taking your images, when you're taking a photograph, composition is obviously a huge part of it, but consider what different shutter speeds may have, what effect they may have on the image you're taking. It's really, really important when taking your photographs to think about shutter speed.